All right, everybody. In this episode of Daddy Everyday Podcast, we're going to talk about the concept of generational curses and their impact on individuals and their families. Strategies on to identify and recognize generational patterns that are negative and that are possibly holding your family back. We're going to talk about techniques for breaking free of those negative behaviors and curses. The role of forgiveness and compassion in the process of healing and transformation, and practical steps to create positive change and establish a legacy for our future generations. All right. All right. So today I want to shed light on the topic of generational curses. Throughout history, cultures and societies have contemplated the idea that certain patterns and hardships may be passed down from one generation to another. It is a notion that evokes curiosity, fear, and even a sense of resentment. But what exactly is a generational curse? In essence, a generational curse refers to the belief that negative consequences or unfavorable circumstances can be inherited for the future generations due to actions, behaviors, and trauma experienced by the ancestors. It implies that the sins, mistakes, and misfortunes of previous generations can cast a shadow on the lives of their descendants, shaping their destiny in a predetermined, unfavorable way. While the idea of generational curses have deep roots in various religious and cultural beliefs, it is important to approach the topic with a critical and open mind. It is essential to recognize that generational curses are not universally accepted as factual or scientifically proven phenomena. However, they have undeniably influenced the way many individuals and communities perceive their lives and experiences. One way to interpret generational curses by looking at the psychological aspects that can perpetuate negative patterns within families. Psychological factors such as learned behavior, unconscious biases, and expectations that can play a significant role in shaping individuals within a family lineage. Social and economical circumstances, access to resources, and historical injustices can also contribute to disadvantages across generations. However, it is critical to avoid falling into the traps or believing that generation curses are an absolute and unbreakable. While it is true that some families have challenges, it is also true that individuals have the power to transcend these circumstances and create a positive change. We must remember that each generation is endowed with a capacity for growth and transformation. Breaking free from a perceived generational curse requires awareness and willingness to change ingrained patterns. It involves recognizing that the impact of past experiences in one's life while taking responsibility for one's own choices and actions, education, therapy, and community support can be powerful tools to help individuals navigate and overcome the challenges that may have been inherited. Moreover, it is important to remember that the concept of generational curses should not be used as a means to assign blame or stereotypes. It is a complex subject that demands sensitivity and empathy. We must also approach it with compassionate lenses, understanding that individuals within a family are not defined solely by their ancestors' actions and by their own unique potential and ability to create positive change. In conclusion, the idea of generational curses is a thought-provoking concept that has captured the human imagination for centuries. While it remains a matter of personal belief and interpretation, it serves as a reminder of the interconnectedness of our lives and influence on past experiences on our present circumstances. By cultivating awareness, taking responsibility, and fostering resilience, we can break free from the perceived curses, pave the way for brighter and more empowered future. So that's my take on generational curse. Now, we're going to go over 4 steps in breaking the generational curse or cycle, or something like to say. And we're going with the standpoint of the patterns, negative patterns that are in our families that have been passed down from generation to generation. Not so much the religious take on it. This is more the actionable things that we see in our families that we want to change. Now, the very first thing you have to do if you're trying to break a generational curse that's in your family is to identify the generational curse. You might think you have a generational curse in your family that needs immediate attention. I would recommend taking this step. Take time, a week or month, whatever, to reflect on the negative patterns that are in your family. You can start with yourself, obviously, and what are you doing that's holding you back from reaching your full potential? You can look back at your family and think of things that negative behaviors that you could see was passed down from generation to generation. You can take some families. This year, 2023, is the first time someone in their family graduated from high school. And you can imagine, wait a minute, we're talking my parents didn't graduate. We're talking my grandparents didn't graduate. Those are the type of generational curses that I'm referring to. I'm referring to. Whether it's drugs, you think about how, well, a family comes from a long line of whether it's doing drugs, selling drugs, or anything, that criminal lifestyle, things that are normalized in your family. Like, yeah, such and such, breaks into cars just like his dad did and just like his granddad did. Those are the type of negative mindsets and activities that are passed down. And you think, well, you have a choice in that. But what it is the mindset that these things are okay. And I don't have to live up to any certain standards because this is what my family's about. Some people get trapped in that. There's a lot of family members where they go on to college and things like that, and then others stay in that circle. But to break a generational curse, you have to pull others out. It's not enough for you just to be free of those curses. You have to pull other family members out. So once you decide what is it that my family is being haunted with, sometimes it's a poverty mindset. A lot of times, like comedians, if you think about some of our favorite Black comedians, they can tell the same joke and we all can relate to it. When they talk about poverty and things like alcoholism and things like that, we can relate to that. Fathers not being present. Sadly, we can all relate to that, and we can find humor in those in their jokes. That's is part of the generational curses that we inherit as a race that we have to start breaking. Like even for myself, and I'll talk in more in depth at the end, but I don't know my biological father. I grew up with a father, a man I called my dad, but I don't know my biological father. And there are a lot of men out there, or I should just say men and women, who don't know their biological father. And that's normalized in our community. That is definitely a curse upon our race that we definitely have to change. Now, once you identify the generational curse, now you need to evaluate your decisions, things that you're going to do to help break this. This is probably the hardest process because it requires self-reflection. And let's face it, no one wants to identify their own bad life choices. Most people go through life completely oblivious to their own bad decisions. These are the same people who blame everyone for their problems, when in reality, they are the only ones to blame. Self-reflection isn't going to be or going to feel good. It's a very tough thing, but to get to the essence of what you can do to change your generational curse and change your mindset on things, you have to do self-reflection. Now, this can be very, very difficult, and it's not a bad idea to actually pull in other family members, especially ones that you're close with, that can help you identify traits that you're not even conscious of that you exhibit, or having that support system to help bring along change in your family bloodline. Now, once you've identified the generational curse and you evaluated the decisions that you need to start making better decisions, obviously, especially if you know exactly, let's say if you have a problem with alcohol, is now is the time to start making those changes, to start changing the narrative for your family. And to do that, you have to make a plan. Once you identify your family's generational curse and acknowledge that you've perpetuated this uh, generational curse, it's time to make a plan to break the cycle. I mean, whether you're a smoker or you're stuck in a mindset of being poor, because poverty mindset is a real thing, people. Whatever it is, now it's time to fix. Stop smoking. Stop believing that you're poor. They say poor is a mindset. Your pockets may say different, but to get out of that, you have to recognize this is a stage in your life if you have that poverty mindset and not the final stage. You can get out of poverty. A lot of people do things in their life to stay in that poverty mindset. I've worked with people who didn't want to work a certain amount of hours because they didn't want their government assistance to stop. They wanted to stay in that lifestyle right there, and not allow themselves to break free by being more independent of government assistance. That is a real mindset. And we have a lot of control over our generational curses. It's just about stepping up and saying, hey, enough is enough. And making a plan is the biggest step that you can make. Is only second to the actual execution of the plan. All right. Now that you have all the information you need from others and the steps that you need to take to make this plan a reality, the only thing to do now is just to execute that plan. Remember, breaking the generational curse is a process that takes time, self compassion, and dedication. It may also be beneficial to seek guidance from a professional, such as a therapist, a spiritual leader, who can provide personalized support and guidance throughout this journey. Now, when you're executing this plan, it is very important that you change the negative things that are in your life first. It will be a lot easier to pull in other family members if you've already started making those changes, and you can show the positive impact that it's had on you. It'll definitely be keep in mind that you will have resistance in trying to make changes that will affect your family. A lot of the generational curses is because people don't want to be the one to step out. It's difficult to be the one to step out and doing something positive when everyone around you is doing something negative. If you have a family that's really into gambling, and then you're like, no, enough is enough of this gambling mindset, it's going to be hard for you to pull them out of that. It'll get to the point where they don't want you around. And that's for most generational curses. If your family is infused in that, it's hard for them to look into the positive. So they may not even want you around. Your goal is to find those that are willing to change, and you start pulling them along, and then they'll be the ones to help you in pulling others out of that mindset. Now, for me, I want to take a personal look into my life, or my family, I should say, and some of the things that I'm wrestling with as far as generational curse. One is not knowing my biological father. For I'm 47 now, and probably for the last 30 years, every time I had to fill out paperwork when it's pertaining to health, um, it asked me my mom's health history and my dad's health history. And with my family, with keeping so many secrets and not knowing um, uh, things to sort of say. I don't know my mom's health history. I know she died of a heart attack. So I am fearful of that. And I don't know my father's health history. So I have, I guess it what, pre-hypertension. So I am on medication for, high blood pressure. And my biggest fear is passing from like a heart attack or having a heart attack or something and leaving my kids at an early age. And I consider 47 an early age. My mom passed at 49. So it is a fear of mine. I make sure I get checked out regularly, yearly. If the doctor tells me, hey, I need to see you, I'm there. It's one of those things like health is definitely a big generational curse in the sense of us not knowing the health of our family. I know like my grandma had psychological issues, but we never dug into that. So there are things that's going on in my bloodline that I'm just not aware of and that I possibly passed on to my boys. So the best thing I can do is make sure that my boys will always know what's going on with my health, get them checked out regularly so they know what's going on with theirs. So health won't be a concern of ours going into the future. And then just family history. I really don't know my family outside of like, my sister and my brothers that I grew up with, my uncles. But I don't, there's, having a biological father, I don't know. There's a whole family tree I'm just not aware of. We just have to change those kind of things in the Black community where we just don't know our people. And it's so common that it's not even like a big deal. Like we don't make a big fuss that not knowing our people. And it bothers me, still to this day. I thought I was over with it as far as like not knowing my biological father. I tried using those, 23andMe and Ancestry. And I felt like I was on a lead as far as finding my biological father, but it went cold. So I said, that's it. I'm done as far as looking for my biological father. And it's still there. Like I thought, I'm done with that, but I still have that urge just to know. And it's not even so much to make up for old times or like for him to throw the football to me or anything like that. It's just knowing my family history, like almost like who did I get my personality from? Because I'm nothing like my mom, nothing like my brothers and sisters. I think I mentioned this on a podcast before, but I always thought that my personality and the way I am came from the high school I went to. And my sister told me like, nah, you've been like this all your life. Not that I'm just, I don't want to say different than my family. I have a different mindset than my family. And apparently it's been like that all my life, which means it really did come from my biological father and his side of the family that I don't know. So, and I'm reminded of it with my boys because they are just like me. Some of it's good and some of it is concerning because they have a nonchalant way about things. And I definitely, that's something that has bothered me or I think held me back in a sense, just not fully applying myself. And the boys are super smart. It doesn't even require much effort on their part as far as school, but I try to push them more because I was a BC student and totally could have been an A student if I would just applied myself. So I'm glad that I'm pushing them because Kendrick, my oldest, who will be a senior this upcoming school year, class of 2024, in the beginning, like his middle school years, he wasn't really applying himself. And me and his mom had to get on to him. And now he's like an AP honors student. So I wish I would have applied myself. Like for my family, graduating high school was the high point. Just graduating high school, having a job. That was it. We didn't strive for more. We didn't strive for entrepreneurship or going to college, making a difference in the community. It was just at least the bare minimum. And I don't fault my folks for that because for them, They didn't graduate high school. So graduating high school is a big deal to them. So now for me, a big deal for me will be my son's graduating from college. Um, you know, I'm hoping they want to go. You know, Kendrick has a year left in high school. Dylan still got several more years, but due to be in his last year of elementary, so that's crazy. He'll be going to middle school, but those are concerning things for me as far as them is that what is it health wise I'm not aware of that my boys will potentially be affected by because I don't know my family history. Um, and then that's just my personality of just my nonchalantness of certain things. So those are concerns of mine as far as my boys. But as far as for you individuals that are listening to this, I want you to really deep dive into what you think could be holding you back. It may not be something like drugs or alcohol or gambling that's plaguing your family. You may say, "Oh, I'm not aware of anything that's affecting my family," but there's still something that's possibly holding you back. There are people who are accomplishing great things in life, and then there's some of us, self included, that feel I am destined for more and greatness, but I'm holding myself back, and I don't know why. I don't even think it's a fear of success. It's, I don't know, maybe it's the fear of the unknown, or maybe it's the fear, I don't know, to be honest. That, I mean, this is just real talk. I'm not sure what it is that's holding me back from taking the next step. I think me doing a podcast, hosting workshop for fathers is my way of trying to achieve what I think my destiny and my purpose is. But I could really be doing a lot more. So I don't know what that self-sabotaging to a certain extent, because I know there's been opportunities that I could have taken advantage of that I haven't. Why is that? So a generational curse could be just that mindset of not really applying yourself to your fullest. You can have all the resources you need, fully capable of doing things, but for some reason you find yourself not applying yourself like you should. And it's a tough road to travel because you know what you want to accomplish, but for some reason you're just not doing the things that you need to do. And I know this speaks to a lot of people, and it goes beyond just generational curse. It could just be an individual thing. Like right now, you're in a stage in your life where you want more, and you know you're able to achieve it, but you're just not applying yourself like you should. It's not even like laziness. Some can say, "Oh, you're just being lazy." No, it's the actual applying yourself and doing the activities that are productive. Because you have to know there's a difference between being busy and being productive. Uh, Busy can get you nowhere. Productive moves you in a positive direction. So keep that in mind when you're doing things. Are you being productive or are you being busy? Productive is, in the sense, actually washing dishes. Being busy is just putting dishes in the sink. I mean, both require action, but one actually moves you forward. That's a simplified way of putting it, but that's a great analogy to show you the difference between actually accomplishing something in an activity and just doing something to pass time. So, one of my assignments for you guys out there listening is to identify your generational curse or identify what you think is holding you back. It can not even focus on the generational curse. It can be like right now in your life, what's holding you back from taking that next step to accomplishing what you want in life, to living the lifestyle that you want. I know I'm close. I feel I'm close. A lot of things, a lot of moving parts right now. But I feel I'm close to achieving it. There's a step or two that I'm not doing, And like I said, I'm not sure why I'm not applying myself to the fullest, but I guess acknowledging the fact that I'm not applying myself to the fullest is a great step in the right direction to accomplishing that. But like I said, the goal for you guys is to identify a generational curse or something you feel you need to move forward to help advance you and possibly your family. Like, just identify that. And then once you identify, you'll move naturally to making a plan and to executing the plan to correct these generational curses. Like always, the show notes will be in the show notes. The social media will be in the show notes, in the breakdown. And I hope that you guys find what you're looking for when you start digging deep into your generational curses. I know I'm still battling with mine. Like I said, I thought the whole biological father thing was over, but I see it's still something that's bothering me. So maybe I will go back to the whole ancestry thing and see if that lead can produce anything else, because they still send me emails that, hey, here are some more relatives, but they're like 0.08 as far as percentage. So that makes them like a third or fourth cousin. So that's not going to really lead anywhere. But I see knowing my biological father is still a thing. So as far as my assignment, that's something I'm going to continue to look into. I thought I was done, but obviously I'm not. Even as I'm doing this right now, I still feel the feeling that, okay, I need to know my biological father. And now both my parents being gone, it's like I kind of feel like I'm on my own as far as that, because I don't have grandparents. But I know, like, for my boys, because everything I do is about my boys, that I want to make sure they know and have as much information that they'll need as far as growing up. Because, like, I don't know, the health issues, which is always, like I said, is my biggest concern. And I want to make sure they have as much information as they need. It brings me pleasure in knowing that they'll never fill out a health application or go to the doctor, and when they ask about their father's health history, that they can fill it in. Like, I always had to put NA. So that's it, because I'm about to probably start getting emotional, guys. I didn't even realize this really affected me like that. But like I said, social media, Daddy Every Day. You'll see all that in the show notes. And get out there, guys, and find out what your generation curse is, or at least what's holding you back from achieving greatness. If you're not where you want to be, there's work to be done. We all should be living the lifestyle that we want. And a lot of times it is one of those things that our family did this, so we do this. And we don't have to live like that, guys. That's it. Talk to you guys next week. I wanted to send a shout out to my boys. I keep my Father's Day cards, and I know Father's Day is coming up. And these are some of my favorite ones that the boys got me. And I earned this trophy right here. Dare anybody to come try to take my title. But that's it, guys. Have a great week, and I'll talk to you guys later.